The past 2 weeks we have covered common weather aspects. This week we're going to uncover some uncommon terms, or ones you just may not hear us talk about nearly as often. Not the movie, but the Pineapple Express is used to describe a storm or series of storms that contain tropical moisture from around Hawaii. As it arrives along the west coast, this can lead to intense rainfall in some locations. Opposite of that is the Siberian Express. This is a nickname for the Arctic air mass developed in Siberia as it heads southward into Canada and the United States. Not an express, but here we do have the formation of the Greek letter omega. That's an omega block. This is where two upper-level low systems trap a high-pressure system in the middle. The area under the omega block, or high-pressure system, experiences dry weather and light wind for an extended period of time. While rain and clouds, that's common with the two troughs on either side. The right side of the block will also have below normal temperatures, and the left side will have above normal temperatures. Virga. This shows up on radar, but not the ground. This is when precipitation falls from the clouds, but it evaporates in the dry air beneath the cloud before reaching the ground. You can sometimes see those feathery streaks extending from the cloud's base, which is the path the rain took before becoming water vapor. This one also shows up on radar, and quite clearly, a squall line. This is a group of storms arranged in a line, usually along or up ahead of a cold front. This can extend for several to even hundreds of miles. A type of severe storm squall line is called a derecho. On radar, the winds distort the linear shape and cause it to bow out. Derechos are defined by having at least 58 mile-per-hour winds and damage over 240 miles. This devastation strength is similar to tornadoes, but the damage, that's typically in one direction. Thundersnow. This is pretty rare, and the conditions have to be just right. Thunderstorms can form in the winter, but they have different characteristics. In the winter, the surface and lower troposphere are cold and have low dew points. That means there is little moisture or convection to lead to lightning and therefore thunder. Thundersnow usually forms when layers of flat snow clouds develop instability and then experience dynamic lifting. The conditions that produce snow also tend to have a stabilizing effect on the atmosphere. The snow even acts as a suppressor of the sound. So from a typical thunderstorm, the thunder can be heard many miles away, while the thunder from thundersnow can only be heard within a couple miles. Not snow, hail, sleet, or even freezing rain, but grapple. These are soft, small pellets that form when supercooled water droplets freeze onto snowflakes. Think of this as soft hail. Looks a little bit like styrofoam balls or even the tasty treat, Dippin' Dots. Along the frozen lines of grapple is RIME. This occurs during freezing fog events. It's when water droplets are supercooled, meaning they are below freezing but still in liquid form, and when they touch any surface that is sub-freezing, they instantly freeze to that object, creating RIME ice. Another winter weather phenomenon is lake effect snow. This is common across the Great Lakes region during the late fall and winter. Lake effect snow occurs when cold air, often originating from Canada, moves across the open waters of the Great Lakes. As the cold air passes over the unfrozen and relatively warm waters of the Great Lakes, warmth and moisture, that is transferred into the lowest portion of the atmosphere. The air rises, clouds form, and grow into narrow bands that can produce 2 to 3 inches of snow per hour or more. While heavy snowfall may be falling in one location, the sun, that may be shining just a mile or two away. The geography of the land, water, plus the wind direction are key in determining which areas receive more, less, or even no snow. Another geographically geared one is cold air damming. This is where low-level cold air gets trapped topographically. We, in North Carolina, the Triad, experience cold air damming when cold air gets pushed up and wedged along the east side of the mountains. We can get wedged in for a few hours or all day. Sometimes it's just much cooler and cloudy conditions, or it's some drizzle to freezing rain. It can vary and be a big difference from morning to afternoon, and say from Mocksville to Burlington. This last one is also a fun one to say. Fujiwhara effect. This is when two hurricanes that are spinning in the same direction pass close enough to each other that they begin this intense dance around their common center. If one hurricane is a lot stronger than the other, the smaller one will orbit it and eventually be absorbed. If the storms are close in strength, they can merge or just spin around each other for a while before getting back to their own paths. Weather history for this week actually occurred just over the weekend. Tropical Storm Arthur formed on Saturday, which is about 2 weeks before hurricane season. And that also makes it the 6th year in a row for an early start. Since 2015, at least one named storm has developed before June 1st each hurricane season. Some of those have had impacts in the United States and elsewhere in the Atlantic Basin. Early season storm development usually happens when a low pressure system with cold and warm fronts stalls over the ocean in late spring. If the ocean water is warm enough and the winds at jet stream level aren't too strong, then those thunderstorms can build and cluster around the center of the stalled low. That can eventually lead to a subtropical low and then a tropical storm. For your 7-day forecast, we continue with the rounds of rain and storms for the next couple of days and why we still have that flash flood watch through Thursday. Conditions improve over the weekend with temperatures warming and less rain. Stay safe, healthy, and see you for next Weather Wednesday.